Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Distance Dilemma podcast. My name is Sean. I'm in Dublin, Ireland. This is Imran. He is in Thun, Switzerland. This is our long distance friendship podcast. This is episode number 33, and it is time for our brand new segment. This is our weekly out of context scenario. So, Imran, what is your out of context scenario for the week?
I think it's episode 34. I don't know, but I could be wrong. I
Did I
could be
say
wrong.
33 there?
I think he says 33, but anyway,
Okay, right,
anyway,
yeah,
anyway.
it is 34. That is correct. So, I should have said 34 there. Sorry, guys.
There we go. Sorry. Not that everyone's counting the episodes, you know. So my out of context weekly scenario this week is two things. The first one is Irish mugs, and then my second thing is Spider-Man cupcakes.
Spider-Man cupcake. Okay, Irish mugs. I'm gonna guess somebody sent you one for your birthday in the post.
Okay, you're close. You're close. You're close.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Do you want me to keep going with that one, or do you want me
Okay.
to
Okay.
move on?
So when Dari came over, he brought loads of stuff for us, like little different things, like crisps, usual bags of tea, loads of stuff. But he brought these mugs and he bought a tree set from Dunn's, and I have to say they're probably one of the nicest gifts I've ever gotten. Like like a gift you're not expecting from someone that's really nice.
Mm.
So I have one here with me. Obviously, for anyone that's listening on Spotify, they won't see it, but it says "Go Red Mila Motica." And they're actually I have two more inside. One says like Cade on scale, and then I actually can't remember the next one, but they're actually really cool. They're like
Mm.
just like small writings, and a woman like actually makes these by hand. And then she just styles them through done. Starry was telling me anyway. So I'm actually like supposedly there's one more and I want to like finish the collection now. You know, that kind of way. Like he got me
Yeah.
three because he said there was only three available, but he said there's one more. And like I'm just that kind of person when I'm like, if someone gives me a collection like that, I'm really like, oh, I need one more to finish it. But I actually thought it was really cool. It's really like thoughtful as well, because you know, like you're not expecting
Mm.
something like that. So yeah.
It's giving Father Ted the way it like the font and the way it kind of like sits on the mug. It kind of gives Father Ted.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually when you think of it like that, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it's not. It
Um,
is really nice though. Like before we hit record, I was actually looking at your mug, and as in the thing you were drinking from, not your face. And I was like, "Oh, that's a nice mug." I thought that myself. So if I can get it in Duns, I'll check that out when I'm doing the weekly shop this week.
I was trying to hide it from you. I don't know if you've seen it. I was like taking a sip and I was
No,
like making sure I was low on the camera because I was like, oh, he's gonna
I
catch.
didn't know you were being devious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought he was gonna catch it already before we started the podcast. And then yeah, the second thing I had was Spider-Man cupcakes.
I'm assuming this is also something to do. Nicola got you Spider-Man cupcakes for your birthday.
She actually made Spider-Man cupcakes, which is very
Okay,
impressive. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
step above.
Yeah, so I was in work on Sunday. My birthday was actually on. No, sorry, I was in work on Friday on my birthday, and I came back. And like me and Sean said before, like we're not the two biggest fans of our birthday. It's just not. It's just another day to us. But Nicola likes it.
Drama.
Drama. Yeah, yeah. But Nicola likes to make a big deal about it, which is really nice. Like decides just like to show that someone cares. And when I came back to the house, she had like put so much effort in. She had like happy birthday balloons on the wall. She had like balloons on the ceiling. She had like bought me flowers, which is like crazy because me and Nicola talked about it before that like most men receive their first flowers at their funerals, which is well, I thought it was really nice. Like you know what I mean? Like I was not expecting it, and she bought me like a Lego set. She bought me like a Spider-Man one, which is from Into the Spider-Verse, which is really cool. I actually haven't even opened it yet because it just looks sick. And
Mm.
then she got me like Spider-Man cupcakes. Where basically what she did is she bought cupcakes, put like blue and red icing on it, and then put like a cardboard cutout of like Spider-Man, like the cartoon in like different like positions, like doing that and like swinging on a web, which I was just like, you know, when you're like, I was just so shook because it's just like the amount of effort and time she put into it. It was just like,
Mm.
wow, she cares about me. She cares about me.
It
But
sounds
yeah,
nice.
it was really nice, man. I'm actually not gonna lie. But yeah, that's my two of the week. So I actually had a nice week, nice week. And Sean, my question for you is, what is your out of context weekly scenarios?
I accidentally drew a full page full of pubes.
I like the way you put accidentally in there.
No, it fully was accidental.
Yeah,
It was only
okay.
after I stepped back and said I just drew a fucking page full of pubes here.
Okay, maybe I'm presuming you had to do like some kind of graphic design and work, or you had to like
No,
make something. I don't know, I'm off topic there. Okay,
no,
okay, cool.
you're not on the right trail so far. No, you got to keep going. You
Okay,
haven't even scratched that why this accidentally happened. So But
Maybe
once we're in like a ballpark range of like, yeah, you're kind of close. That's when we give it
okay.
away. But I think
So
like there's more digging to be done
okay,
of
okay.
why I accidentally ends up with a page full of pubes, and not like I've
He says accidentally, but
drawn
yeah.
on pubes. By the way, there wasn't actual pubes on a page that I
Yeah,
just like
Sean
had on my
just cutting
desk.
them off and just sticking them on with super glue with the hammer style. Um, I'm presuming maybe because your phone recently broke that maybe you're on the phone with someone like from one of the warehouses or production company that you were like listening to them and you were just doodling on your phone and then when you looked or you're doodling on like a piece of paper and you look down and there's a lot of pubes there. I don't know if I'm probably not even close, am I?
You're not close, but you're heading in the right direction.
Okay, I'll give one more try. One
I'll
more
give
try.
you
One more
one
try.
more to go of it.
Okay, okay. Uh, were you playing like I don't know. Were you playing a game with Simone where it was like kind of like I don't know, like was it like not like a sex thing, but was it like Cluedo or like you were playing like guess? I don't know. I don't. I give up.
No,
I give up. I give up.
no.
Mine was a lot more easier than his. I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
no, if but you know, like I did it and I thought about it. I said this would be really funny for the
Yeah,
podcast. Like I
yeah.
knew there and then I was like, this is what I'm using next week. So how I accidentally ended up with a page full of pubes was me and the band were going into rehearsals on Tuesday this week, right?
Right.
And so as part of that as well, we've got a new member of the band joining us who hasn't been announced publicly and stuff, but there's your kind of exclusive there.
Your
So
tea.
you're a new member of the band, and when you bring a new person into a band, they obviously have to learn the songs. And I'd been emailing them back and forward on my laptop, and I just said to him, "Do you want me to print any of the chords out, or do you want me to print out stuff like for any of the set lists and blah blah?" I said, "Yeah, would you mind just printing out these few songs for me, and then I can just follow them?" I was like, "Yeah, grand, no problem." So as part of that, to write out music sheets is a bit of a pain in the hole. To do it on computers, especially, it's a lot easier to write music by hand than it is by computers. So I had a piece of paper and I had like all these things in black, and I have a green pen here for any of the video watchers.
YouTube.
I have it. So yeah, for any of the YouTube folks that are watching the podcast, I have a green pen here. And I said, what I'll do is I'll go over this in green pen and not black or blue, because I find black or blue fades in, especially he's going to be looking at this from a distance. I feel the green will just stand out a little bit more from the black.
Right, right.
Problem with this green pen is I haven't actually used this green pen before, and it's been sitting in my pencil case and now on my desk for the best part of about 3 or 4 years. And I hadn't
He's
been
just a member of
touched.
the family just sitting
So
there.
I was just got a blank piece of paper with like that wasn't the sheet music, and I was just going in circles and circles and circles and circles, just trying to get the ink to come from to come onto the ballpoint.
Hmm.
And it was coming and going because the ink just had to be moved into place. Like like I knew if I started, like I just had to keep scribbling and just getting
Okay.
the thing active. But I just kept going around in circles and making slinkies and just literally just scraping until the ink kept coming out consistently. And then when I stopped and I took a step back and I looked, it literally just looked like I'd scribbled a page full of pubes.
You should have said that to him and say like, "Oh, there's
There's the
our set
notes.
list. Yeah, there's the notes."
Yeah, there's how you play this song. It's Pube RS, our new single.
Do you do the
Um,
thing as well? Like if it's not working and you're scratching, do you lick the top of the ball pin and try to do that way as well?
yeah, I done that once or twice. Like, but like the problem with this was like the ink that was under like that part of the pen had just gone super dry,
Dry,
and I
yeah,
just
yeah.
needed to keep basically because like I don't know if people know how pens work, but like that tip of the pen is actually like a little ball that rotates, and you just need to basically keep getting it to spin until that dry ink comes out.
For
Because like you can
taking,
see,
yeah.
the pen's full of ink. Like you can see it on the podcast as well. Like it's full. This thing is full of ink.
My
This is
thing
the
with
most interesting yet boring thing I could have brought up because I'm here talking about the ink in pens and pubes. Like these are two very, very different. Like these are very contrasting things. But yeah, that was my out of
Th-
context scenario for the
that's
week.
exactly like that scene of Superbad. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where Jonah Hill is like he's obsessed with drawing penises at the age of like 12,
Yeah,
and then he has a
yeah.
lunch and he has a lunchbox and he drops it. I don't know if anyone that hasn't seen Superbad, watch it. It's funny.
I
Um,
thought about that last week myself. Yeah.
yeah, cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I mean, Sean's was definitely more a bit more. peculiar than mine, but I can see the
Our
direction he
topics
was
for the week
going in.
are Spider-Man cupcakes and pubes. That sounds like a countdown conundrum of some
Yeah,
sorts,
yeah, that
doesn't
does.
it?
How are these related?
But
Nice,
speaking
nice.
of topics of the week, we do actually have a topic for the week, and we're going to move swiftly into
Nice,
that now.
nice, 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 nice. This is good. This is like the first time we not actually have to say the transition. You just
But we
slide it
just
in, but
did, so
we just
fair
did.
play. So yeah, our topic for this week is: would we still be mates if certain
Mm,
scenarios happened? Like, so me and Imran have been friends now for about 10, just over 10 years, I'd say at this point now.
hmm.
And at the start, we did this thing at the start of, well, I say we. Imran didn't like me,
No.
and I don't blame him. I was an annoying little bastard. I was. I really was an attention seeking little fucker when I was like 13, 14. And then I don't know what happened. I got a smack a cop on from somewhere, and all of a sudden, then me and Imran became tight, and here we are 10 years later with a podcast.
Podcast.
So yeah, but there's a lot of variables that could come down the way of, like, like what, like, imagine, like, if this thing had or hadn't happened, like, would we still be mates if these things happened? So Imran's got a list of things that he's gonna run by. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
I
let
don't
Imran
know
take the
if we
floor
were
here.
on the same direction here. Like I was saying, like, would we still be mates if something had happened? I don't know if you were thinking the same thing. So we'll just go off my theory first, right?
Mm,
And I was trying to think of like terrible things that could potentially happen. Like, so like one I said was like if I was on your laptop and I accidentally deleted all your music off your platform streams. So like all your songs off Spotify, Amazon Music, like that all your music was accidentally deleted, like by accident,
mm.
like I didn't mean to do it. I don't know if you're thinking on the same lines or, but
I wasn't thinking those lines, but sure, we can run with that for a little
wait, well,
while.
how about we run with my ones and we'll run with your ones? I
Yeah,
first try
yeah, for
going to
sure,
like
for
the
sure.
worst direction.
I was thinking more like if we hadn't have gone to the same college after school, sort of
Oh,
vibes.
okay, okay. We'll do that after. We'll do
We'll
that
do,
after. We'll
yeah. So
go.
we'll
We'll
go
go.
through
We'll
yours
go.
first, and then we'll do mine after.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what would you do in that situation?
I
Would we
wouldn't
still be
care.
friends?
Yeah, of course. No, that's a real simple fix. Like, as long as, like, the actual, like, music files are still on my laptop somewhere, like, they can be restored up on, like, I've done that before. I took down one of my songs and re-uploaded it because I just wanted to put a new version of it up because I didn't like the version that was up on Spotify. I didn't tell anybody. I just did it.
I actually didn't even know that. That's the first time
Yeah.
I'm hearing that.
And like, you can put it back up with the same number of streams. Like, so basically you'll get like an ID number for it, and then you'll, like, basically just have to take note of that before it comes down. Now, you obviously probably wouldn't have done that if you've accidentally deleted all my
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
off the
yeah, yeah,
streaming
yeah, yeah.
services, but there is ways of finding out what it was and stuff, like, so it's like, honestly, like, it's like deleting something in WhatsApp or something like that. Like, it's recoverable, so
I
that's
didn't know
that's
that you could do that with if like a song is taken down from a platform that the streams are still there. The certain amount of
yeah,
numbers
yeah,
is still
yeah.
there for like
Like, all the
that's
all
cool.
the
That's
stats
interesting.
and the records or stuff of it will still be there. Like, that's Spotify's data. That's not your data. So you can't, like, you
Yeah,
couldn't delete that. Like, like, that Spotify's, they own that. Like.
that's interesting. That's
Mm.
interesting. Second one was mine are all, I'm only looking back now because we were like thinking on two different things. Mine are like completely horrible. Mine was like you gave me a lend of your favorite guitar and I completely broke it. Like I smashed it.
I mean, like, you'd be paying for the guitar, but, like, yeah, like, I would probably be fairly pissed off with you for sure. Like, it would be that one there. That's, I suppose, that one behind me there. For anybody that's listening, sorry. It's my black Gibson guitar back there, which I don't actually gig with a lot anymore, but it's got a lot of sentimental value and it's
Mm.
class. And there's a reason I don't gig with it anymore, is because I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah.
I've got other guitars. Like, if you broke one of the guitars that I gig with, it would be annoying. But they're kind of not made. But, like, I've kind of accepted the fact that because I gig with those guitars and rehearse with those guitars so much, they're gonna get bumps and they're gonna get scratches. Like.
Yeah, now I'm actually feeling so bad because I'm reading this list and I'm like, Sean was like thinking very sentimental reasons and mine are just
Yeah, I
horrible.
thought, like, 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 if we hadn't have done, like, photography and TY together, because I think that's where we
Yeah.
really clicked. Like, I was thinking, like,
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Another one I had was this was more around the lines when we were like going to Marvel movies together like very often, but like I'm just gonna pick like a new movie, like a big one that's coming up. I would say like I had gone to see Doomsday and I had spoiled the whole thing before to you before we go to think. But probably a better an example would be would have been like if I had gone to see an end game before you and then it's like spoiled the whole thing for you.
Again, like I don't think that's like relationship ending sort of territory, but it's definitely like not talking to you for a week territory. Like is
For
what I
me,
would
it's
say
such a
about it.
pet
Like
peeve. Like I really don't like when like someone tells you the whole plot of a film before you go and see it. Like I like
yeah,
I'm always like even with my mates, I'm always like, can we like try leave it for like the last thing for us to talk about? Obviously, like I
mm,
want to hear like if it was good or not, but like don't go into details about the movie. But that just goes like me and you are movie and TV fanatics, so
mm.
yeah. And then the last one I kind of had
Well,
because
what
I had
about for
another
you?
one.
Like if I spoiled something on you by accident, I think as well important with this as well. The context is like the intent to do it.
The
Like
intent, yeah,
the intent. So like sometimes you can accidentally let slip something like when you
yeah. Should look
genuinely
at Tom
don't mean
Holland.
it. Tom Holland's a perfect example. Yeah.
He's a perfect example.
Like so like I think that that's a big bit to it as well. Like if somebody intentionally, I think yeah, I think right. Hold on, if someone isn't like intentionally spoiling a film for you,
Mm.
that's like cunty ass behavior.
It's a
You
dick
know,
move. It's a dick move.
that's like that, and that's like a sign for me. Actually, do you know what? Let's read into the deeper psychological aspects of this. That's somebody who wants you to ruin a good time for you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
that is
yeah.
worth ending a friendship over.
I
You
don't know.
know,
I don't know. Depends how deep the relationship is, you know?
it does, but yeah, like I think like to be like um to like if for someone to like for like if for example like if I was like if the whole like Avengers Endgame started, if like you're going like when we both know how excited we were for that film to come out and how excited we were
Mm.
to find out and to like take that moment away when you know that excitement, whereas like I think maybe like if it's more of a casual friends who saw happened to see a film before you and like was casually talking about it and they kind of let it blur out,
Blur out.
that's
Yeah,
not as
yeah.
bad. But like when you know that like you're looking forward to seeing something and you're using that as like a weapon, that
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's where you're probably going
Oh,
to be
weapon.
calling.
A weapon.
Yeah, but like you're weaponizing it, like So I
Yeah,
think
that's
that I
it.
think in that scenario, that's maybe like you'd maybe not end the relationship or end the friendship, but like it's definitely like, oh, we're analyzing
I feel like
our
for our friendship to end though, it would have to be something like fairly dramatic. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you'd have to do something like really dicky to me.
Hmm.
where where you're like made me look like a mug or you damaged our trust. Like that's for me now, like that's kind of like the only thing where our friendship could collapse.
Hmm.
I have two more. Another one is so bad. I don't even want to say it. I said like accidentally hit Dina with my car. Like
Fucking
I
hell,
don't
man.
know. I know, man. I'm sorry. You know how dark my brain is. So like, this is like where it went. I was trying to think like the worst things possible. You know what I mean? Zena, I promise. I'm not going to hit you with my car when I come back. Okay, I promise. I like you.
um, I'm sure I'll refrain the message over to her. She's in her room sleeping
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
moment, but
Simone's gonna be
I
listening to this and she'll be like, "What the hell, Imran?"
she, I think again like that's the intent behind it, like
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm
um
not purposely going to drive over Xena, but I mean, like, say I'm coming up to yours and Xena, like, and I'm like pulling up the park and Xena just runs out in front and I hit her.
yeah, like that's an accident though. Like accidents
Mm.
happen, like like it's
Yeah, but you
definitely
can
going
still
to
be
be.
annoyed over an accident, though.
Yeah,
Like
of
I
course,
feel,
yeah, but like I think to like cut somebody off over that sort of thing would be like,
yeah, it's a bit
oh,
harsh.
yeah, like if you purposely were like, I'm gonna go run the dog over, like, yeah, we're not speaking again, like but accidents, accidents happen, like both serious and unserious, and like in both ways, like so no,
Xena.
but yeah, I think like again, like the context of that is like super important. Like when it's accidental, it's like right, okay, I'm obviously not going to be very happy with you. I want you to maybe at least buy us a bouquet of flowers for the dog just to send her off, and maybe help pay for the funeral costs or whatever. Like
Oh,
But
I just said here, I didn't say she's dead or anything, you know.
okay,
Maybe she
right,
just has a little bit of a wound. Let's not go too far here. I'm not murdering Xena. And then my last one, because I want you to go on to your perspective as well, is if I decided to leave the podcast.
and just be sitting here by myself, thinking about
Just
my own
Sean
thoughts.
doing distance scenarios by himself. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think like the podcast is like it's almost like a time capsule kind of thing. Like it's incorporating like this period of our lives for each other, like, you know, because I do, like, I don't think we're going to be doing the podcast for 20 years, like, you know, all things have to come to an end, like, you know. And it's
Mhm.
like when, like, the lads in the band leave, like, you know, like, we've had two members of the band leave this year, and like, I'm still mates with the two lads that left. Like, two, like, they're still two close friends of mine. Like, you know, I know I could call them now. Well, I actually can't call them now because I haven't got a fucking phone. But I could ring them on my iPad on WhatsApp, and they'd pick up the phone. And like, no, like, I think, like, you know, every, like, you know, project or relationship will have its natural kind of end and stuff,
Mm.
like, you know. So like, whether we do this for another 2 years or another 20 years, like, you know, is great, like, you know. But at some point you're going to move back to Ireland, and the title is going to be, you know, I don't know if that would be the time to then call it a day on the podcast, like, you know, because like there isn't a distance limit anymore unless you were to move to like County Mayo, or, you know, the opposite side of Ireland, where like we don't, it's not as easy to just
But
drive
that
down
would
the
be
road
like
and
a
see each other.
full circle moment though as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If we were able
yeah,
to do it then the podcast in person, like I think that would be like that's kind of like the end goal of the podcast. You know what I mean?
I think so as well, yeah.
Like we've done one in person here, and maybe when I come back to Ireland, maybe next year we might do one over there
Yeah,
with
for
you,
over here
maybe
for sure, yeah,
over
yeah.
there for sure. So like it'd be interesting to see then, like you're saying there, like in 20 years' time, will if it's still going, or 1 year time or 2 years time with the
Mm.
podcast, like it's for right now, it suits our situations and like it's allowing us to keep a friendship going. Um, and that's what I kind of like about the podcast is it's like the unpredictability of where it's going. It's just like we're not putting too much pressure on ourselves. It's nice and steady, like a slow train, and we just
Well,
keep pushing along. And
I think like what we've said before is like it's a passion project, like, you know. And
yeah,
if we're not passionate about it, like, what's the point in doing it? Because
if
then
we're not
realize
having
it's just
fun, like what's the point in doing it? Do you know what I mean?
exactly. So
Yeah,
like on the opposite scale, that then, like,
yeah.
you know,
Let's sorry,
how no, no, no,
sorry for
no.
killing Xena, guys.
But what, no, what I'm saying is, like, what if I was to turn around to you in 2 months and say, hey, this stuff with the band is picking up, and I'm not gonna be able to commit to the podcast. How would you feel about that then?
I mean, like, thing about our friendship is like I would respect your honesty that you know that you feel like you couldn't put 100% effort into it, and like I don't want this podcast to be something that's neglected and it's like only been given 20%. And I like, of course, like I've always been a big supporter of, I mean, I hope so. I've always been a big supporter of you with your
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
music career and like the way things have gone. And so for me, like I would be proud to see you like chase that dream. And I think for me to like prioritize the podcast over that would be very selfish of me as a friend because I know how much effort and like passion you put into your music. Do you know, if you know, if you know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say, like
yeah.
I feel like it would be disrespectful to our friendship if I was to put the podcast over you perfect sorry, trying to provide for your own personal dream. So
Mm.
that's what my opinion would be of the podcast. But like again, lads, we took a month's break. We're back for a while now, so don't be worrying.
Yeah, this is probably like the worst time to bring, like,
We're
it's
not
like,
going
yeah. So
anywhere. You know
we're
what I
actually
mean?
finishing in December,
Yeah,
and
yeah. It's over. Xena's dead. Poor Xena. Okay, let's go your side. Right, let's go your
yeah.
side. So
So
you
my end of this was a bit more on, like, you know, like stuff that actually has happened. What if they didn't happen? Sort of
right.
vibe. So like, I'm thinking, like, one of like the core kind of moments I think of at the beginning of our friendship is like, so we shared a room together in Paris, and that wasn't by choice. That was like us being thrown into the same room because we didn't pick our roommates or whatever like that. Or I don't know, I was probably thrown in with you and Darren and Jack because nobody wanted to sit with me because I was a fucking wrecking head.
You also got
Um,
to remember that we're two different people back then. Like I was very
yes, yeah,
much
yeah.
like I feel like I very much was a kind of person who got along well with kind of everyone. I was kind of like a middle guy where like I got on well with the cool kids. I got on well with people who weren't as cool. You know, I was kind of like a middle guy, like a happy guy for in between. And I think that I was acting very different, like not myself towards other people to like fit in. Like that's kind of something I've only like noticed over the things. And I feel like me and you had a lot in common at that time. We just didn't notice it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like we
but
not our like our family upbringings, like our interests, like kind of stuff that we both in life like appreciate is kind of similar. So like just things like that we probably didn't pick up at that age. Again, like you are like what 13, 14 as well. Like so life is not that
yeah, and
deeper
like
than it is now.
you also, like, it's something that like I think we've both talked about before. It was like we didn't realize how deep the stuff that we were going through was at the time, because we just didn't know. To us that was just like, we
The
won't go into
norm.
details on it, like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like that
yeah,
was just our normal lives, and it was only when like we started to open up to each other and other friends and partners, and like, maybe even family members as well, where you realize like what was actually going on in both of our lives wasn't okay.
yeah.
And on a subconscious level, that will develop certain like mindsets and habits and stuff, and that's where I feel like we were kind of like naturally pushed together, coming
Hmm.
from similar backgrounds in that way, like, of having like, some similar experiences, like, so our brains are kind of wired to think in similar patterns, sort of, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely.
but like one thing I always think of, like, that's like, I think like that was, I think Paris was the first time we like got along, but I always remember when we were doing like photography in TY, and there's that infamous photo. I'll try and find that photo
Can you
now of the
find
two.
the video of it? I don't know if you can find if you can have it somewhere. I might look for it. I think I have it on my laptop anyway. But me and Sean did like a slow-mo video on our iPhones of us doing like football tricks, and it's so funny. I'll see if I can find it somewhere.
Yeah, it's like, it was like we thought we were like AA9 skills.
F2. Yeah, we thought we
Like
were
we thought we
F2.
were the F2.
Yeah,
Like it was just
yeah,
like the most cringy thing
yeah. Swaz
ever.
ball.
But yeah, there's that photo of the two of us in like, it's like one of the very few photos. I have it in front of me now. I'm gonna put it into our WhatsApp now, so you can relive this. But it's a photo of the two of us, and it's one of, I would say it is probably the only photo I have in my camera roll of me in a pair of tracksuit bottoms.
Yeah, Sean. One thing about Sean is right. He never wears tracksuit bottoms. Like
No, I
I
don't wear
haven't
tracksuit
seen
bottoms.
Sean wear tracksuit bottoms in about.
I'd say since that photo, or like it's since
No,
like TY school
there was one
in
time
Dunboyne.
you in
Yes.
Dunboyne, but that was because he was cycling at the time. He was cycling to PLC, and that day was really wet. So I think either his jeans got wet or whatever. Yeah, that's
I
mad,
actually,
man. Do you
yeah,
know what though? I still think I look like very much the same. You look very different.
yeah,
You look
I
a
would
lot different. Yeah,
like it, I
yeah,
think a big thing for that for me is like I've got a very like the beard being like a big thing. Like I don't have a beard in that photo. I
yeah,
like I don't think I'd like fully like my shoulders hadn't kind of broadened out a bit as well. Like I'm starting to, whereas like you're of a similar height and like your hair is a bit shorter now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It
And
was
you've
very
probably
long.
got the same stubble. Imran's had that stubble since he was 12. So
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's about. I just think I
Nice.
always think of that as like the kind of like catalyst for like what came for the rest, because I feel like from that moment on we got closer and closer, and then like, like
It's
kind of
funny though
then.
as well because like we went through different friend groups as well without hanging around each other. Like we were
Mm,
friends, but we didn't really spend that much time together one on one. It was always like another person there. So
I think
like
it was only like as like Infinity War and Endgame started coming out, like
lit,
once like once
yeah,
Marvel was getting heavy, that we really started to like get a lot closer.
yeah. Because the first time I remember is we done that photography. Then we had done a football tournament with Mango, which we talked about before on
Yes,
the
yeah.
podcast. Then you kind of started hanging around with a couple of my friends group for a while. And then that petered out, and then I started hanging around with your friends at the time, which was Dylan and Adam, and we
Mm.
hung around for a while, maybe a couple of months. I don't think it was really long. I went to a couple of gigs, which is and stuff, and then again, like you said there, then it wasn't until Marvel kind of picked up on me and Sean probably were talking about in the PLC and the end of sixth year at the same time as well about like our love for like superheroes and stuff like that and film and stuff like that. So that's kind of I think where we kind of bonded and became friends as well. Yeah. So for me, I think if it wasn't, actually, that's the thing. I think if it wasn't for Marvel, I really don't think we might have been as good friends today. Maybe the PLC also played a part in that as well, because we did go to the same PLC college at the time. And then also one of your best mates at the time, Adam, was in my class. So like I'd spent a lot of time with him and you. So that's where I'm kind of thinking if that never happened that period there, we probably wouldn't be as strong as friends.
Yeah, I think we definitely like would have like ended up in like similar bubbles to where we are, like where I am with people from school now, where like
Yeah, yeah. Like if I
they're
seen you,
more,
I'd probably say what's up, like that kind of
you'd
thing.
stop and chat to them. Ah, how are
Yeah,
you? I
yeah.
hope all things are well, but like you wouldn't like necessarily be like hosting podcasts with them.
Yeah,
you know.
no, man. You want to run a business with them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I feel like it would be like it would definitely be in that, because like there's loads of people like from school, and I don't want to like name names in case people don't want to, but like there's lots of people that I have so much time for. You
Of
know,
course, same.
I've so
Same.
much time, and if I start, and I would love to like rekindle with them or whatever like that. But like I also get that like there's so many of those people that like
Mm,
if you don't know what everyone and try to rekindle every relationship, like it's you're
yeah.
gonna you'll either end up being disappointed or people aren't gonna be able to fit you into their
Because
diaries
people
or
are different now. You're forgetting like people are older. Like the relationships you had in school are not the
yeah,
same anymore.
that's
And like
also a big thing. Yeah, sorry,
and
go
like
on.
I talked about before, like even when I'm coming back and I'm seeing some of my friends, like some of them I can see a change in, and some of them are still the same way that from like the first time I met them in school. And some like it's a good thing also that they're developing, but and also I like the fact that you're rekindling the same friendships you're having, you're laughing about the same things that you'd experienced growing up with them as well. It's also nice because you're like the nostalgia effect for it.
Mm.
But like again, you also grow out of friendships. Like I can tell you, I've probably grown out of 5 or 6 friendships over the last 5 years easily, and I would have considered them probably one of my closest friends at the time. At the time, but I think like I'm at that chapter in my life now where like things like that happen naturally, and I don't think friendships necessarily should be forced. But I do think what you're saying there, you putting an effort to rekindle a friendship also is important too, because maybe the reason that they're on your mind so much, it's something deeper that you can't understand. And I think that maybe, like you were saying there before, like you would like to rekindle some friendships maybe you had in school, but like again, it's selective choice. You can't do that with everyone. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and like there's also like because when I think of, like upon myself, like like I am a very different person to who I was like when I was in college. Never
Mm,
mind when I was in school, So like that can also be the same for other people, like
hmm.
and like you might not while you might want to rekindle that, that doesn't actually mean you're gonna go back to the same person as
Yeah.
well. And like you said, like I think it can swing both ways. I think you can have people that are like still in school in that like when I say still in school, like I mean like they're the same person that they were in school, and then you can have people that are like totally different people.
Hmm.
Like it just like everyone's a bit different, but that's kind of like it's cool. It's also a bit scary. Like I like because even I look back on myself, like and I'm like every few years you develop and you change, you
Hmm.
know, as life does its
Character
thing.
character development.
Bit of character development, exactly. Like so like but like it's crazy. Like and it's like one like it's a very first world problem where like it's not just school friends, it's college friends, and then it's people
Yeah,
you used to
yeah, yeah,
work with, and like
yeah, yeah.
there's just so many people that come into your life for the better,
Hmm.
and it's hard to keep up with everyone. Like like there's two people I think of in particular that I would say I'm in touch with these guys every day, but I actually haven't seen them in over a year, and it's
Yeah.
because I just send them. It's because I just send them TikToks. One was a
Yeah,
guy I used to
yeah, yeah.
work with, and one was a guy I used to go to college with. I love the two of them to bits, and I like, but I actually haven't had like a proper conversation with them in so long. You
Yeah,
know?
I'm kind of like the opposite effect. There was a guy I used to hang around with when I used to work in TGIs, and we hadn't spoken for a couple of years. And the reason was because like I had lost his number and he had lost mine. And like over the past 5 or 6 months, I don't know, somehow we were able to rekindle the phone number, or I think I saw it on WhatsApp, and I decided to throw him a text, see how he is. But honestly, I've talked to him on a day-to-day basis now for like over 3 months, but I haven't seen this person like over 4 to 5 years. So like I
Mm.
have no idea what he looks like. He doesn't have social media. He's very like he decided to like get himself off that just for a betterment of himself and his relationship and stuff, and I respect that as well also. But obviously like because I don't see, when when you're looking at people online, you're only getting a side of perspective from like what they're like, what they're doing, where they're going, if they went to a concert or stuff like that. But for him it's like because he's offline, you're not seeing that, so it's also kind of nice because you're kind of reaching out to him being like, again, this is the first world problem. Like before technology around, people did this years before us, but obviously it's our generation, we're born into where we see most things that people do online.
Mm.
So um yeah, so like it's funny, like in that same situation, it's like our friendship now with him, I feel like I'm actually gotten a lot closer to him, and like I talk to him a lot of stuff, but we've only ever like communicated over the phone. Like I haven't seen this guy in Jesus 4 to 5 years, so I'm looking forward to actually maybe hope when I go back to Ireland meeting up with him.
Mm.
But yeah, like that's it. Like that's look, that's life, and like your friendships come and go, and luckily, if you're lucky, you get to have a good couple and of the good ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think and like it's really hard as an adult, like as you like you now being in a different country and like us now having our place, like it does get so hard to keep up those friendships, like it really like it shows. It's like I don't know how to say this without saying like without sounding like I'm slating off people, and I don't mean this in like a negative way, but
Mm-hmm.
like it shows who is kind of like important or who values you
Mm-hmm.
almost in their life, because I think back to like my mom's funeral last year, and so many people, like I like anybody who like showed up to that, like I didn't realize how much it would mean to me
Mm-hmm.
until I saw them there. Sorry, that
Mm-hmm.
wasn't me choking up crying. I just I don't know, my throat just closed up
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it meant so much. And like there's some people that I hadn't seen for a year or two before that, and I haven't seen them since. Now I've thrown them a text and said thanks and stuff, but like it's stuff like that that really like holds character for me. And like that it's when you like when it comes to those like really important times that like that's where people will show up, and that's who who you're like who you should be prioritizing in life almost,
Mm-hmm.
like and then
Mm-hmm.
like I said, like there's people from that like I haven't spoken to since the funeral that I would really like to meet up with, and if I could meet them tomorrow I would, like it's just hard to find the time as an adult, like it's also like trying to find the best balance for you, because I've talked quite a bit before about like burning yourself out socially by
Oh
meeting
yeah.
up with too many people, or
Mm-hmm.
booking yourself solid, and then like not seeing your partner, or
Mm-hmm.
not being able to like properly re-energize yourself,
Mm-hmm.
even if it is like me and Simone said this weekend, we are doing nothing. I'm not allowed to make plans for us. I'm not allowed to. We're doing the shop. We're going to tidy the house a little bit, and we're sitting on the couch and just watching Netflix. And we're doing because we need that time. Like
You bit of you time, bit of you time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of that is to do with effort as well. You know what I mean? Like some people, I feel like have given up on friendships and they expect nothing from it. Like they expect nothing from one side, and I feel like just we'll use our friendship for example. I feel like we're very much even in terms of like how much support we have towards what's going on in our lives. And like example, like if it was my birthday recently, like you got me a card and you got me a present, but it's not even that. Like I told you before, it's just more the fact that he went out of his way to, you know, make a card for me, send it to me, stuff like that. Like that's for us is like a lot of my other friends wouldn't do that, and that's why I appreciate it so much with my friendship with Sean, is because he's a nice fella. You know what I mean? He's a lovely fella. You know what I mean? So I think
But a
like
bad
again
husband.
with a bad boy. Yeah. But anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on. So our next segment is pop culture slash current affairs. I don't know if you have anything in particular you want to speak about um this week, but one thing I noticed was that the budget was released in Ireland,
Mm.
or like the plan for 2026. And the biggest thing I seen was the thing about the cigarettes. A lot of people were talking about craze about this. And I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes, and neither does Sean, but from people that do smoke, like my mother, for example, like I think it was like a 20 packet of cigarettes has gone up by like 80 cent. And I didn't realize how expensive cigarettes were before.
Mm.
Um, so when you like here, I think it's like 12.40 for a pack of 20. And this is like the ones that are already rolled, like they're pre-rolled, not like a packet of tobacco. But
Mm.
I see now like in Ireland, like the price has gone up to like 15.80, which I like, I mean, I don't smoke, which I think that's like crazy. But also I think it's a beneficial thing. It's trying to get people to stop smoking. But
Mm.
like I was talking to one of the lads in work about this, is like because he's from up the north, and he was saying like it's even more expensive up there for stuff like that, like cigarettes, alcohol, all them taxes have just gone up
Yeah.
dramatically. But I mean, like they're trying to stop obviously people smoking because it's one of the most damaging things to your lungs. But I mean, at the same time, it's like everything is just going up and up and up and up. I also seen that they did. I just got over here in front of me. They put 10,000 more into the healthcare system, which I mean, I also thought that's like they could put a lot more in.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's
It
anything
was a
else you've
really
seen.
really disappointing budget. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing, like me and Simone were talking about it yesterday, and like there's nothing for people like us, and I include you, and like anybody probably listening to the podcast in our age who in Ireland, like there's just nothing in the budget for us. Like even like I know like something they had before was the energy credits to help you
Mm,
get through the winter, so that you basically got, I think it was, I don't know if it was, I think it was 500 or maybe €700 in energy credits. So like it would just help with paying for the heat and over the winter time. Like I know we
which is
found that
expensive.
it's really
It's like
expensive, yeah.
expensive.
And like it really helped us last year just to like not be worrying about sticking the heater on, or
And
you
do you
know,
do that pay as you go system?
yeah.
You know,
When
like
when
yeah,
we moved into the house, it was prepay power, so
prepay power. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we just weren't arsed moving over because I looked into it. It would have cost us more to switch over.
I remember the first time I heard about that, I was so amazed. Like it was literally it's like getting credit for your phone. I
Yeah.
just I not like I hadn't heard about it before. I think it was actually Bolo at the time. I said to me about his family that had done it, and then like because I remember one time I was like his, and we had to run to the shop to get like 20 quid of credit during like December or something because you know Ireland in December would be absolutely freezing,
Yeah.
freezing. I also saw that I know kind of off topic, but Jim Gavin had dropped out of the presidential race, which I kind of saw coming. I don't know why. I said it to Dario when he was over here as well. Like I always thought it was weird that he was running in the first place. I'm loving the memes though. There's a video of the woman from Sinn Féin doing kick ups, like kick ups. I don't know if you've seen it, yeah.
Catherine
And it's
Connolly.
Catherine
Yeah.
Connolly doing kick ups, like playing with kids, and they're like, "This is
That.
Jim Gavin's reason for not for
Yeah, but
dropping
it's
out."
it's like Jim Gavin saw this and he dropped. He was like, I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
compete. I can't compete.
yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, like, I mean, I saw this bit on TV. Like, he was called out for a loan or that a payment that he didn't make to a previous tenant he had like 14 years ago. But I mean, like stuff like that when you're going for presidential elections or all the history that you've ever had always comes up because they're trying to downplay what you're trying to do for the country. But I mean, like, when I was listening to the debate that they had on, like, there was no one that was clear cut telling me what they're going to do as president. You know, I mean,
That's
like, there's not much they really do anyway. They're
yeah. That
figurehead,
this is
but
it.
like,
Like, no.
but I mean, like, he wasn't saying the right things that are going to attract people to come in. And to be honest, to me, from like afar, it looks like Catherine Connolly is already going to get in.
It's
And
a
like,
one horse race.
it's a one horse
There's
race at this
no.
point. Like,
I cannot. Even when Jim was in it, the only people that would have voted for Jim are like
Dublin heads. Any Dublin's with GA supporters
Dublin
because he
heads,
was,
Fianna
yeah,
Fáil heads, and
yeah,
like possibly misogynists or like people that think women can't run countries and that sort of stuff. When Ireland's already had two female
two
presidents, which
females.
arguably were
Shout
probably
out
our
Mary
most
McAleese.
successful periods. Like but again, the president doesn't actually the president of Ireland is like a more of an ambassadorial role for anybody listening that isn't from or knows about
Hmm.
Irish politics. Like it's nowhere near the levels of power that like the prime
America
minister has
or
or America or like anything. Like it's very much a they're representing Ireland at the UN conferences and
yeah, you're a
you
front man.
know yeah, sort of like, and they sign legislation in, but like it's only legislation that has been passed through the actual government. Like like the president doesn't actually get involved in anything in the Dáil around.
No, he makes public appearances at like major
It-
events as well,
and
sporting events, Irish culture events. Like Michael D was always great for that. You'd always see him with his dog with at the events and stuff.
yeah,
I did like Michael D though. I actually thought he was really cute.
I think this is like something that I was talking to Simone about the other day as well. Is like I think that like it's such a like I think people are taking so much problems with because I don't think there's a perfect candidate, right? Because
No,
as much as I know who I'm voting for, um, I'll be voting for Catherine Connolly. I might as well just fucking say it, like, because it's a one horse race. There's no other option really, And Catherine, I wouldn't go as far as to say she is the perfect choice, but the thing is, we have had the perfect president for the last 14 years. Like Michael D. Higgins was the perfect man
he's
to
just everything that represents Ireland. Like
exactly.
he's a poet for God's sake.
Exactly, like he was the perfect person for that role, and I feel like any of the candidates, none of them were perfect for the role, and like it's very rare that you're going to get the perfect person for the role. You're never going to agree with absolutely everything somebody has to say. I agree with probably 80 to 90% of what Catherine's saying, but I disagree on some things that she says as well, not a lot. It's only like it's more like the way some things are phrased and stuff like that.
I mean,
um
I felt like she was saying a lot more things towards the right generation and things of where she wants the country to be looking. But again, they say these things, but they have such lack of power. Like I was watching her debate, and then Heather Humphreys was on as well. She'd run with Fine Gael, and there was like nothing that she was saying was clear cut to me, like from an outsider's perspective of watching it from someone who's living afar. Like
mm,
you know what I mean? It's a good thing about Catherine Connolly was, and I'm not like, I'll never be a big like supporter of people that talk about like right wing things, but like I'm not even joking from an outsider perspective living abroad. Like she was saying all the right things to people that you could tell that the direction of the presidential race was going in a one-way horse race.
Mm.
Like you could see it clear cut from the start. So I feel like now where the country is at, I mean, like I would love for a change in the Taoiseach, but like we're not. We're very far away from that. We have to get through this first. So we'll see. We'll just see where things go, I
Well,
suppose.
that was only
Yes,
that referendum only happened last year, and
that's what I mean. So, and if we didn't elect the best person, so
well,
anyway, yeah, that's another topic of time. If you're
mm.
hyping up Trump on a on a public state, I don't have respect for you. So enough said there.
It's really, do you know what? It's really fucking pissed me off that he's after aiding in that ceasefire for Gaza. Because
Hmm.
as much as I don't like Trump and as much as I disagree with 90% of the things that he says, he has, played a big hand in getting that ceasefire deal. Now, whether Israel do what they did the last time there was a ceasefire and just fucking ignore it and still go in and start shooting people anyway is, to be seen. And it wouldn't be surprising because they done it the last time there was a ceasefire as well.
Mm.
But it looks like he had like a big helping hand. Now, again, I've said this before. I'm not a political expert. I don't know everything about what's going on. I can only kind of see what's being reported on like mainstream news and stuff. And especially when it comes to anything positive regarding Trump, I take everything with a pinch of salt. But even from all like the news sources I trust and I've seen stuff on, it looks like Trump has aided in that a little bit, which is frustrating because Trump's a horrible person, but it looks like he's used his power for good on this
But
occasion.
the one thing I would be devil's advocate against that is America are known for giving a lot of arms shares to Israel. So do be wary of what you're seeing. On one hand, in the public eye, you're seeing how he's aided in stopping the war and coming to a ceasefire. But then also you got to remember that the money side America's profiting off
Mm.
from sharing arms shares to the war. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
a
for sure.
it's a double side. I kind of get what you're saying, but it is like it's a double-sided
But
sword.
that's the
So
thing. That's why it's
yeah.
something that like
Mm,
it's not. Maybe I don't know if praise is the right word, but it's something to kind of look and go, okay, maybe fair play because
mm,
he has helped stop that. So it's actually not benefiting America to do this. Like it benefits America for that war to keep going on because, like you said,
mm,
they're profiting from it. But
mm.
I do think it's more of a PR thing. I don't think Trump's doing this because he supports Palestine or Gaza. He
No, it doesn't
absolutely
give a
doesn't.
fuck. No.
But I think it's more of a PR thing. So when he comes around and inevitably tries to maybe make I think there was talks of him like trying to do a third term, which you can't do, but he's trying to push that through.
Mm,
And him being like, oh well, I stopped the war between Israel and I think like that would be one of his angles, to try and get people on the left to vote for him.
mm. I
You
don't think
know,
that's possible though. I
no,
can't
no.
see him get. I can't see him getting out, and I hope he doesn't because I think
No,
he's
I think
horrible.
yeah, it's great. No, it's crazy that the fact that he's even in power again. I remember the day he got
Yeah.
elected again, last November, and me and my co-workers were in the office going like, "What is wrong with them? Like, are
But that's
they?"
that's the thing about America though. Like nothing is a surprise anymore. Like I think the way that their voting system is there with the college system, it's so far-fetched from like a democracy that the way that they play it out to be that it's one way or the other. And I saw that coming in from afar off. And I even said to my mom at the time, I was like, I guarantee Trump's gonna get elected again. So I wasn't even surprised from that because the first time I have to say I was very surprised that he got in. But I know there was a lot of things that happened in the political race when he was against Hillary at the time as well. So yeah, look, we're just America for
I wasn't
America.
too surprised the first time. Like the first time, I think it was like a really they were two shit candidates for America to pick from in 2016.
Mm,
I could understand someone's reasoning for voting for Trump in 2016. I could not understand anyone's reasoning for voting for Trump in 2024. You
mm,
know, I think that's the difference there with
mm,
that.
mm. Yeah, just cautious on
Moving,
time. So we'll move on to
yeah.
our next segment.
Well, I want to talk to you one more thing about current affairs, which isn't political. It's weather
Okay.
related over here.
Okay.
So after we finished recording the podcast last week, I was like, okay, right, I need to nip out and I need to just grab some flowers for Simone because it was our anniversary.
Hmm.
So I nipped out and I pull out my garden and there's a tree on the ground.
Oh no way.
A tree, like
Uh,
a tree that's like 30 feet tall, had fallen over. And so this is happening. So like I'm talking, we finished recording the podcast, and like 5 minutes later, I'm in my car, and this tree had fallen over, and I remember I was trying to send you the podcast, like the file, and it was saying problems with your internet connection, and I was like, what the hell, like it's fine, and it had knocked over the electricity pole on my road,
no way.
so we had no power for like 2 days last week after the podcast.
Candlelight.
Like no, literally, we literally had tea lights around the house lit to try and get
That
around, but it was like I was having a horrible time because, as you know, I have no phone at the moment. So with no phone, and that now my iPad was rendered useless because I had no internet for my iPad to connect to. Couldn't make a cup of tea. We had to, and like me and Simone had like had such a hectic week, and we were like, oh, we'll go out next week. Like, let's not go out for dinner. Like, let's just stay in, have a Chinese, have a really chill evening. And
I do
you
feel
know,
like
let's
your reasonings are like proper third world problem at the moment. Yeah, but also at the same time, it's like such bad luck. Like you had the phone situation, like you've been so busy that you haven't got to spend time with Simone, and the whole thing happened with the tree. Like it's just one
yeah,
thing
it
after the
was
other,
just
isn't it?
like what the fuck, like so.
And you know
Yeah,
what the
we ended up
storms
like
would be like
having
in
to go
Ireland
out.
as well.
We were forced to go out for our anniversary. Terrible, terrible first world
Terrible,
problems.
terrible,
We like we
terrible.
couldn't even have a shower at, and then we got up the next morning, and like luckily from the flight to Bulgaria before, I still had 2 episodes of House that I hadn't watched, so I was like
Yeah,
sitting in the sitting room because as well, like we hadn't got any hot water, we couldn't Hoover, we couldn't even clean the house, like like we cleaned a little bit, like but like you need hot water to get, and the vacuum and stuff to give it a proper clean, like
yeah.
so we were kind of just like we had to kind of just sit there and go and be like just like and we ended up just going to our mom's house so we could have a shower,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just so I could connect to the internet and doom scroll for a bit because I was starting to lose my mind because I literally could do absolutely nothing because like at least Simone had 5G on her phone, like I hadn't even got that, like.
If this is a clip, someone's definitely in the comment, read a book.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I'm conscious of time, so we're going to move on to our new segment. So last week, I reached out to a couple of folk, a couple of the listeners about a new segment we have called Your Distance Dilemmas. Essentially, we want to hear from you what dilemmas you have going on with your life. You just write us a message, all anonymous, and myself and Sean will basically dissect your dilemma and talk about it, and we'll all have a good time. So I've got two this week. They're all anonymous, like I said before. I've mixed them all up as well from the ones I've heard, two different ones as well. So I'll read the first one out now. So the first person said, I work remotely and it's starting to feel really isolating. I love the freedom, but I miss the day-to-day human interaction. Any tips on how to not go insane working from home? And I think Sean could probably be the best person to talk about this because he is someone who does work from home a lot. So
Mm.
I'll let you kind of talk on this a bit more because I have never worked from home. So
Yeah, it is something I kind of felt at the start as well. Especially like when I first started my current role, I like lived with my grandparents for like the first month, and then moved over here, and then like Simone works 5 days a week in the office most weeks. So I did feel it a little bit. I think it's more about like trying to get into some like healthy habits as well, like going out for a walk, or I know this like that's such a super generic thing, but it really does help, and it gets harder and harder to do as like the evenings get darker and the weather gets a bit worse. But like going out for walks, if you have a pet, like one of my favorite things to do is just go out and just play with Xena for 5 minutes if I'm feeling like if like if I'm missing Simone, or I'm just looking forward to her coming home or anything like that. Um, if you're working in a team, like one thing we do every morning is like we have our team call, and like it helps you feel like in touch with everyone that's going on. Sorry, everything that's going on with like everyone in the company and stuff. Like and sometimes we will just sit there and we will just talk a little bit about like what's going on in our lives, and like have that bit of like not professional communication.
mm,
I get that like you may be feeling that it's like a thing of like it's physical human contact in that way, like of like you want someone like face to face with you. And I think it also, I don't know if this person has somebody that lives with them or not, or if they're by themselves.
mhm.
I I don't know. It's something that I think you need to kind of like develop your own like healthy habits with, like, because I personally love it now, and I basically get to take my remote time as like my personal like alone time, and then when I'm out of like when I'm not working, that's my time to pack people in, because it's a conversation I had with Simone, like, about a month ago. She was like, oh, like, do you feel like, she said to me, I think you would benefit from being back in an office 5 days a week and, interacting with people, blah, blah, blah. Because I think I was just like having a bad week or something like
Hmm.
that. And she was like, do you think it's maybe, being away from people? I said, no, I actually think it really works for me because I get to see so many more people outside of work. Because I don't need to, worry. I'm just going to give examples in my situation. I don't need to worry about if I need to go to Blanche. Don't need to get a bus to Ballyfermot to get my car to go to Blanche. I can just go to Blanche at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I think, a way of helping with that is stacking your calendar outside of work as well. Like, once it hits 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or wherever time you get off, like, have plans to go do something with someone. Like, like on Mondays I go out with the band. On Tuesdays I'll usually be here with Simone. But if you're single or you don't live with anybody like that, make that a time to go be with your friends. I play football as well once a week, is so, like, I'm getting that kind of group and human interaction when I go and do those things. So yeah, to cut a long story short, there, I would pack your calendar outside of work, so then when you're in work, you value that time that you have to yourself a little bit more.
Do you feel like more like that having healthy habits in place for after work, it would help them beneficially when they're actually in work, working from
Yeah,
home, so
for
that
sure.
like your evenings are jam packed? That I don't know, like you said before, we don't know if this person's single or they live with someone, but I mean, essentially, it's just kind of surround yourself with more people in the evening time to make you feel less isolated because you're working from home.
Yeah,
And
because
that's what
I
I'm going to
think
get
like
with you.
it's very like I think it's very easily like it's I think it would amplify that feeling more if you live by yourself, work from home, and then don't do anything in the evening, and just so say you're at home then for the entire day and you don't see anybody, and you do that 2 or 3 times a week, and then, like, 1 or 2 evenings you do go out and you meet somebody, you meet a friend or anything like that, you know, then, like, that will, like, those 24-hour days where you're at home, I think they will, like, they will amplify in your mind a bit more. So yeah, for me, I would say, like, pack out your days outside of
Yeah,
work, and then, like, come up with like healthier habits during the day of, like, even if it's like ringing and checking in with a family member or something like that, or like I said, like, you can go for a walk, or if you've got a pet, spend a few minutes, like, focusing on your pet. Like, I do that. Like, I'll go out and, like, I'm not doing this for my serotonin. I'm doing it for the dog. Like, I want, because I know it's a bit lonely for the dog if I'm in here all
of
day and she's in there
course.
asleep. I'm like, okay, no, I'm gonna give you a bit of attention, and, like, I'm gonna give you a stick and, like, make you the center of attention for a
Play
few
with them.
minutes.
Have a bit of fun with them. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't really have much to talk on them because I've never really worked from home in situations. I mean, I did college from home, but I kind of agree with a lot of what Sean was saying. So I'm going to move on to the second dilemma here. And I feel like maybe I might have a bit of a more perspective on it. I've moved away from home for work and I'm realizing that I've outgrown a lot of my old friends. They're still doing the same things while I've changed a lot. How do I deal with the guilt? Um, there's kind of like two things I've noticed when I was reading this, and I actually read over it twice. The first thing that I'm realizing this person said is I've outgrown a lot of my old friends. So like that does happen. Like you got to remember that everyone's doing life for the first time, and some people do. I've talked about this before on the podcast. Like some people mature at greater rates, and like life changes for them very quickly. Like for example, like I moved out. I moved in with a family friend when I was 17, so I had to be really independent in terms of stuff like money and like my time. Because I was doing college and work since I was in secondary school. I started working when I was 16 was my first job, and I've worked all the way through since. So in terms of that way, I'm talking about that you got to understand that things do change and people do mature at different times, but that doesn't mean that your friendships are still not the same. I mean, and then the second thing they said they're still doing the same things. Well, I've changed a lot. Like I'm saying there, like you are developing, but they are also developing too. It just doesn't mean that you're all doing it at the same time. So, like the one thing I would say if you're doing feeling a little bit of guilt with that is just have a little perspective of that. Some like they're still your friends, but time is working a little different for them. Like they might still be living at home. they like mightn't be like a situation like myself and Sean where we're living with partners, and like I'm living away now from home, I'm away from my friends, my family. And like again, there was a thing that I felt a bit of guilt is that you've got that feeling that you're missing out on a lot of things. But also there are a lot of opportunities here that I wouldn't have had at home. So you do kind of need to put into consideration that you should be a bit more appreciative of the things. I'm not saying that this person's not saying that they're appreciative. I'm just trying to read off the message that they're given. Be a bit more appreciative for the things that you have now, and then later on in effect then also be able to deal with that. Guilt will be there over time, but it does something that does decrease because you're still, if you're still looking out for your friends in placement in your life, they're always going to be there no matter what, even if they're doing the same things in their lives. That might be what's happy for them, so you need to like appreciate and respect that. Like that's the same. Like if look, if the lads like phrase, I'll just use an example. Like if the lads like going to the pub every weekend and watching the football and that makes them happy, to me, there's no problem with that. And I think that you should always look out for things that are going to benefit and make you happy in the long run. And do realize that you are still friends at the end of the day, but sometimes you do grow out of friendships. But like Sean said there, and we kind of talked about it previously on the podcast, is people do mature. And it is nice when you do meet up with these people that you still feel like you still got that connection, either that be from school or college or wherever how long you've been friends. But I think just to finalize the final point here, just because I said how do I deal with the guilt? I think it's something that does go after time, but I do think it's something that you should consider that not everyone is moving at the same speed as you may be like maturing in terms of that way. I don't know if you have anything you want to speak about that.
Yeah, like I would say that like the you outgrowing your old friends maybe isn't that's not exclusive to you being being away. Like you say,
Hmm.
it's like the message says that this person
Hmm.
moved away from home for work.
Yeah. Hmm.
But outgrowing your friends doesn't that's not because that doesn't just occur because you've moved away. That is also just part of life. Like I've got friends as well that I would say the same thing about, and I still don't live far away from them, like, and I still consider them friends, but and they are in that. So I would try and maybe like, not focus. I focus on that than feeling like guilt, and I like it's not easy to just be like, oh, don't feel guilty, like, because you can't help how you feel. But
Hmm.
maybe like shift from that perspective of like, and like you had mentioned as well that like everyone's life goes in different directions and at different paces and stuff like that, like, and if they're happy in their situation where they're maybe still doing some things that you feel that you've outgrown, like I said, just focus on like, focus on the good that has happened, the fact you got to enjoy those things together, and like it doesn't mean you can't not do those, not do things together. Maybe you just don't want to do the same things. Instead of, you gave the example of the lads going to the pub. Like if you're a lad and you just don't want to go to the pub anymore, like I'd be in that situation quite a lot. I've got friends that want to go to the pub and watch the football
Hmm.
on Saturday. That's my idea of hell. So I just say, hey, let's go for food, or let's go for coffee, or come over to my house.
Hmm.
That's just an example on my perspective, like, but you can shift the goalposts a little bit and find some middle ground that works for you and your friends, like, when you get to see them.
Yeah, that's one thing I would say just from that is, like Sean said there, it's like whatever makes you happy at the end of the day, you kind of need to be a bit more selfish, and that will stop with you doing that. It will stop feeling the guilt because your friends will understand that this personally mightn't be the thing you want to do. Like I just said, for example, like going to the pub. That's just as an example, or it could be you want to go play football or whatever. Like, not everyone has the same interest, but that's also not the reason why you're still friends. Like, I have friends that we have no interest in football or have no interest in cinema, but we're still friends for whatever reason that life made us friends. So again, it's just about making yourself happy. And I feel like over time, the guilt that you do feel that you've outgrown your friends does come into a bit more of a changing factor, I think. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we have to say on that.
I think on that, we're probably going to wrap up this episode. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Distance Dilemma. I promise to you, I will have my phone back on my normal camera angles next week, and I won't be
Looking
recording on my
forward to it.
laptop. I'm hoping that I'll get my phone back either later today or tomorrow. But yeah, we're still dealing with my laptop's camera for the moment. But anybody that listens, you still get my very smooth Audio Technica microphone vocals. So it's a win for the
Hell
podcast listeners
yeah.
this week and not the podcast watchers. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Distance Lemma. My name is Sean. I'm in Dublin, Ireland. This has been Imran. He is in Thun, Switzerland. This was our long distance friendship podcast episode number 34, and we will see you again next week, Monday at 6 a.m. GMT, 7 a.m. CET. We'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys.